Our Camino de Santiago, walking the Camino Francés, was very much a shared journey between my wife and me. We met plenty of people along the way, exchanged the usual greetings and stories, but most of our days were spent together, moving at our own pace, in our own rhythm. It wasn't about joining a crowd or finding a group, it was about walking our own Camino side by side. The Camino Francés, or the Way of St. James, is an ancient pilgrimage route that stretches across northern Spain, finishing at the Cathedral de Santiago de Compostela. The most popular route, the Camino Francés, begins in the French Pyrenees at Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port and runs about 780 kilometres through villages, farmlands, mountains and cities. People walk it for all sorts of reasons: faith, reflection, challenge, or simply the experience of slowing life down to a rhythm of their own footsteps. This is our story of walking it together, the people we met, the places we passed, and what we discovered along the way. This is how we walked our Camino. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Some approaches may suit you better than others, but that's for you to decide. What worked for us might not work for you, and that's the beauty of it. Every pilgrim's experience is different. Make it your Camino and find what fits you best. Good planning goes a long way, but part of the magic of the Camino is not everything can be planned. I hope you find this video helpful and maybe even a bit inspiring. If there's something I didn't cover, just drop a question in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer. They say the Camino really starts at your home, but for now, we'll be joining our journey in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, a small town in the foothills of the Pyrenees, where our journey Francés officially begins. Good morning, it's 6:20, just heading out now. Early starts become a pattern for us. Before long, 5:30 to 6:30 a.m. was normal. It worked on several levels. When the weather allowed, we caught the sunrise, the cooler temperatures made the first hours easier, and we avoided the worst of the midday heat. We could also enjoy a short time on the Camino to ourselves. On days when we didn't have pre-booked accommodation, setting off early also meant we could arrive close to opening time. It gave us a better chance of getting a bed at the albergue we wanted, and enough time to wash clothes, organise the next day, rest, and still appreciate whatever the next town had to offer. Between Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port and Roncesvalles, you actually get two options over the Pyrenees, and in summer, both are open. The well-known Napoleon route takes you straight up onto the high ridge, big views, big wind, and a real sense you're crossing a mountain. On a clear day, it's spectacular. On a bad day, you'll quickly understand why it's closed in winter. The Val Carlos route stays lower in the valley. It's a year-round option, a mix of road and woodland paths, passing through small villages and keeping you close to shelter if the weather turns. We, as I expect the majority of pilgrims, take the Napoleon route during the summer. There's only one actual border crossing on the Camino Francés, and it's almost comically understated. No signposts, no flags, nothing to suggest you're walking from one country into another. Most pilgrims wander over it without the faintest idea. I only knew because I was watching our progress on the map, and because the moment our phones connected to Spanish signal, we both received those enthusiastic "Welcome to Spain" texts, complete with the usual warnings about data charges. We've just crossed into Spain. It's about another 7 kilometres down to where we're going tonight. Mostly downhill. At the moment we're in the trees, nice and shaded. And it's just 11:10, so we'll get down there about 1 o'clock. We are going to head across to the building. Just across there. Unless you're one of the lucky few to snag a spot in Refuge Orison or the smaller albergue border, your first Camino stop is probably going to be at Roncesvalles Pilgrim Hostel. For many on the Camino Francés, it's their first night on the trail, and despite its sheer size with over 180 beds, you must still pre-book. It fills quickly, and arriving without a reservation is a risky business. We arrived around midday, an hour before the doors opened, and already a queue was forming. When the doors finally swung open at 1 p.m, there was a genuine buzz as everyone rushed to claim their beds. But it's here that the Camino's bureaucracy shows itself. They were in the middle of rolling out a Camino-wide electronic system, but it was far from operational. Even though we'd registered on the app, we still had to fill out paper forms, wait in a slow-moving queue, then physically sign in, show our passports, get the welcome speech, and be told our bed numbers. Even then, we had to wait till about 2 p.m. before we were able to proceed to our dormitory. This was our first night on the Camino, and we quickly settled into a routine that would stick with us all the way to Santiago. Shoes off at the entrance, flip-flops on, locate our bunks, make them up with a disposable sheet and pillowcase. More on that later. Electronics went on charge while we emptied our rucksacks onto the bed, hunted down clean clothes and shampoo, and headed to the showers. Coming out, the next stop was a laundry, sink or bowl, depending on what the albergue provided to wash clothes. Then locate the line or clothes tender and let them start drying for use the next day. With chores done, it was time to relax, eat, or explore a little before an early night, ready for the next morning. Good morning, it's about 7 o'clock. We left about 6:30 from Roncesvalles, and it's an absolutely beautiful morning. No wind at the moment, clear blue skies, but I believe it's going to get windy later. Today we're aiming for about, 22 kilometres. We haven't got anywhere booked, we'll just get there and see what happens. Our philosophy was simple: take it one day at a time, walk until we felt we'd done enough, then look for somewhere to stay. This worked fine for the first few nights, but it quickly caught up with us. We were at the end of April, which is now one of the busiest months, and soon our early morning starts would become increasingly important just to secure a bed. Navigation on the Camino was straightforward. You either followed one of the abundant signposts, the yellow spray-painted arrows, or simply the pilgrim in front of you. Many carry a guidebook, which is great for extra context and interesting details, but we were travelling light. Instead, we relied on the Organic Maps Android app and a GPS file sourced online to make sure we stayed on trail. Just approaching the Zubiri, I think it is. This is our first option of somewhere to stay. It's very nice here. We'll see what happens. It's only about 11:45, so we're very early. We'll see whether we stop here or whether we carry on a few more kilometres back down the valley. This was albergue for the second night, Albergue Rioaga. We simply called the number posted on the front door, secured our spot, and were able to check in about 30 minutes later. It was a typical albergue, privately owned, with a 10-bed dorm and ensuite bathroom. There was a sink for washing clothes, access to a full kitchen, and a small balcony overlooking the river where we could hang our laundry out to dry. Good morning, it's 7 o'clock. We'll be going about an hour. We left at 6 o'clock this morning, and today we're heading for Pamplona. It's about 10 to 10 and we're just arriving on the outskirts of Pamplona. The scallop shell, the Camino's symbol, represents the journey to Santiago, guiding pilgrims along the route and marking the shared path of all who walk it. Arriving in Pamplona, you quickly realise that this isn't just another small Camino town. Perched at the heart of Navarrete, Pamplona is world famous for its annual San Fermin festival. Yes, the running of the bulls. But there's more. A city of ancient walls, medieval streets, and a history that stretches back to Roman times. We entered the city through the Portal de Francia, which fed us onto charming historic streets that surprisingly were almost silent, thanks to the Dia del Trabajador celebrations the night before. We arrived too early to check in, so we found a nearby cafe, soaked in the calm and waited. Our albergue for the night, Albergue Jesus y Maria, housed in a beautifully restored old church on Calle Campagna. Once we dropped our bags, we slipped back into our pilgrim routine, recharge the electronics, find some clean clothes, shower, and then settle in for the afternoon, quietly blending into the rhythms of the Camino. We used very little cash on the Camino. Debit and credit cards were accepted in most albergues, shops and cafes. It's 5 to 6 in the morning, just leaving the albergue in Pamplona and heading to Puente la Reina. Yo dije esto. The Camino wouldn't be the Camino without its countless cafes and coffee stops along the way. Whether it's a corner shop with a basic coffee machine, a vending machine on the street, or a proper sit-down cafe, you're never far from a morning or afternoon pick-me-up. I'm not so much of a coffee drinker myself, but my wife more than made up for it, and I was happy to accompany her while enjoying a freshly baked pastry. Did we put on weight during the Camino? Well, more on that later. As we approach the silhouettes de Alto del Perdón, the view opens up dramatically. These iconic metal sculptures, created by José Antonio Elorza, depict pilgrims on the move, windswept and leaning into the elements. Positioned along the ridge, they capture the timeless struggle and determination of those walking the Camino. Behind them, the vast, open landscape stretched towards the horizon, a reminder of the long, often solitary journey that lies ahead, and the moments of reflection that make this stretch of the trail so memorable. It's about 10:15. We've got another 6 kilometres or so to Puente la Reina, and it looks as though when we get there it could be raining. Although May to September are the most popular months to walk the Camino, with typical temperatures ranging from 15 to 25 degrees C, 59 to 77 degrees Fahrenheit, the weather on the Camino can be unpredictable. You can encounter long, hot, sunny days or sudden thunderstorms sweeping across the hills. Up until now, we've been lucky, with consistently dry weather. But was that about to change? Just started raining. We came in here under the shelter of this church, luckily, because it is now quite heavy outside. For daily weather forecasts, I just use the UK Met Office forecast app I already had on my phone. As it turns out, the Met Office are just as bad at forecasting weather in Spain as they are in the UK. We managed to get cover for the last rain shower, but I'm not sure if we're going to find cover for the next one. We've got 2 kilometres to go and the skies are getting a lot darker. At 11:30 in the morning. We've been going since just before 6. So this is our hostel albergue for tonight. You might just see some flashes and hear some thunder. I think we made it here just in time. It's going to get very wet and rainy, I think, very shortly. We arrived with 5 minutes to spare. There are a few main types of albergues on the Camino, each with their own character. When we purchased our credential in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, we were given a comprehensive printed list of albergues for the entire route. This list quickly became our accommodation Bible. There are plenty of apps that combine maps with places to stay, but we found the printed list to be far more dependable for planning ahead. Municipal albergues are run by local councils. They're the most affordable, very no frills, and only open to pilgrims with a credential. During the 2025 season, prices range from about €8 to €15 per person, and beds often filled on a first-come, first-served basis. Parochial or church-run albergues are run by volunteers or local parishes and are also reserved exclusively for pilgrims with a credential. Many operate on a donation system. You give what you can, though we typically donated €15 per person, depending on the facilities. These places often have a warm, communal atmosphere, sometimes with shared meals or blessings, reminding you that the Camino's roots run far deeper than tourism. Private albergues fill in the rest. They cost a bit more, usually €15 to €20 per person, but often offer better facilities, smaller dorms, sometimes even a cafe or bar. They're open to anyone, not just credentialed pilgrims, and are easier to book ahead. There are, of course, hotels along the way for people who want a private room now and then. Most pilgrims end up mixing all these types along the way, depending on availability, energy levels, and how many snorers they feel brave enough to face on any given night. Good morning, it's about 6 o'clock. We're in Puente la Reina. You might just seen it's 14 degrees. We're going to aim to do 30 kilometres. Every so often on the Camino you come across an honesty table, a simple setup where locals leave out fruit, biscuits, water, or whatever they have to spare. There's no shop, no cashier, and usually no one in sight, just a little sign asking for donations. It's one of those small but memorable bits of Camino hospitality, a reminder that even on long empty stretches, someone is looking out for you. One of the things the Camino does remarkably well is water. All along the route you'll find public fountains, usually tucked away along village streets, beside churches, or on the edge of town as you head back out onto the trail. Most are perfectly safe to drink from. If the water isn't drinkable, it will be clearly marked. These fountains provide part of the daily rhythm. Refill the bottles, cool off and carry on. In the hotter stretches, they're an absolute lifeline, and you quickly learn to top up wherever you see one, because the next might be a few kilometres away. The Camino doesn't always pass straight through the heart of every town or village, so now and then you need to make a small detour if you want to see certain points of interest. Estela Lizara is a good example. Here we stepped a little off the main route to visit the Iglesia de San Miguel Arcángel, a beautiful church perched above the old streets. It's a reminder that while the Camino shows you a lot, it doesn't show you everything. Sometimes you have to wander a few steps to find real gems. Just outside Estela sits the monastery of Irache, founded in the 11th century and once an important Benedictine stop for pilgrims heading west. Over the centuries, it served as a hospital and a place of study. Next to it is Bodega Irache, which added the now famous free wine fountain in the 1990s. Part tradition, part publicity, and now an obligatory Camino landmark. The whole experience still boils down to turning on a tap on a wall and carrying on your way. The beautiful little village of Villamayor de Monjardín gave us a first-hand look at one of the challenges of the Camino's popularity. Arriving without a reservation, we found the first albergue full. The village's only other albergue was also full, and there was no availability in any albergue for 10 kilometers either way on the Camino. For about an hour, we waited before we received some good news. A space had been found. It wasn't glamorous, just a mattress on the attic floor, but it was a bed for the night, and that's all that mattered. Every effort was made to find alternatives for those arriving after us, some even staying at the albergue's owner's own home. After that experience, we decided to pre-book wherever possible, and the following morning became one of our earliest starts yet. Good morning, it's about 10 to 7. We've been walking since 10 past 5 this morning. We're trying to get to Viana, which is about 30 kilometers away. We want to stay at Municipal Albergue. It's done on a first come first served basis. There's been a few problems for people finding space in the last day or so, especially where we were. Lots of people were turned away and there was absolutely no space anywhere. So we've got up early because we've got about 30 kilometers to do, and the albergue opens at about 12 o'clock, I think it is. So we just want to make good progress and make sure we get a bed where we want to tonight. Our morning routine was designed not to wake anyone. We packed our bags the night before and usually slept in the clothes we'd be walking in the next day. In the morning, it was just a case of stuffing our sleeping bags and liners, then carrying them with our rucksacks to the common area to finish packing, so not to disturb anyone. I pop back in to make sure or more importantly, my wife hasn't left anything behind. I generally ate my breakfast while walking along the Camino. My wife waited for the first cafe. The only thing I lost on the Camino was a pair of socks that I had lent to my wife. On the other hand, the only things apart from my socks that she lost on the Camino was some waterproof trousers, a sit mat, earplugs, a pair of socks, clothes soap, a small scrubbing brush. Viana is a small, historic town in Navarrete, with a history stretching back to the Middle Ages. Once an important stop on the Camino, it grew as a fortified settlement with walls, gates and towers designed to protect its people and pilgrims alike. The town is known for its Iglesia Santa Maria, a stunning Gothic church with intricate stonework, and the remnants of its old city walls, which give a sense of the medieval landscape. Walking through Vienna today, you can still feel the echoes of centuries of pilgrims, merchants and knights passing through. A reminder that the Camino is as much about the places along the way as the distance covered. We were walking the Camino on a budget, and wherever possible we cooked and catered for ourselves. We were a little surprised to see how few others did the same, though communal meals and cafes were generally affordable and also offered a great chance to meet fellow pilgrims. Our entire Camino for the 29 days from St. Jean-Pied-de-Port to Santiago cost under €1,000 each, covering all food, accommodation and other expenses, not including flights or our time spent before or after. If you want a more detailed look, there's a daily breakdown of our expenses on my website, link in the description below. Although we washed our walking clothes daily, the facilities varied between albergues. Most of the time, we washed by hand in a laundry sink, but on a few occasions, just 4 during our Camino, we used a washing machine for that just slightly fresher feeling. Hand washing is free, and on this particular day we shared the washing machine with another pilgrim. They paid €2 for the wash, and we paid €2 for the dryer. It's 6:45, we're here in Viana. Just heading to the bakery now, going to Logroño, and then our target for today is Navarrete, which is about 20 kilometers in total. The only audiobook I listened to on the Camino was Exercised by Daniel Lieberman, and one of the big takeaways is that walking on its own doesn't guarantee weight loss. Our bodies naturally conserve energy, and to make matters worse, we tend to compensate with bigger appetite, which neatly cancels out all those hard-earned miles. And I have to say, I concur. With a change in diet and the daily temptation of morning pastries, I actually managed to put on weight while walking the Camino. Been walking about an hour on the outskirts of Logroño, and it was supposed to be raining all day today. There was an 80 to 90% chance of rain, basically from about 5 o'clock this morning. We've been very lucky. There's some blue sky up there, some dark clouds, so I'm sure it's going to rain at some point during today. But we just keep our fingers crossed and try and keep as dry as possible. We had an early morning flying visit to Logroño. A quick coffee in the town centre before heading to Decathlon on the outskirts to replace some waterproof trousers that my wife had somehow lost on the Camino. Logroño sits on the bank of the Ebro and has been an important crossing point since Roman times. By the Middle Ages, it had grown into a fortified settlement, playing its part as a waypoint for pilgrims, traders and travellers along the Camino de Santiago. In 1521, it famously withstood a siege by French Navarrete forces, earning a reputation for resilience that still echoes through its historic streets today. Just gone 11:30 and this is our destination village for tonight, Navarrete. We've got, well, we haven't got anything booked here, but we are hoping to stay at the Albergue Municipal. That doesn't actually open until 1 o'clock, so we've got an hour and a half. We'll get here, we'll have a look around the village, have some lunch, and then get checked in when it opens. Navarrete is a small, charming town in La Rioja. Perched on a gentle hill along the Camino, its name comes from the Spanish Nava, meaning plain, reflecting the flat vineyards and farmland that surround it. To most visitors, it's just another Spanish town you probably wouldn't visit if it weren't for the Camino, but wandering its narrow streets and passing the stone houses and the striking Iglesia de la Ascensión, it quickly becomes clear that it's well worth a visit. Navarrete is also famous for its long tradition of ceramics, a craft that has been passed down through generations, even if that history isn't immediately visible on the streets today. The town is a reminder that the Camino isn't just about the miles you walk, but the villages and heritage you pass through along the way. Good morning, it's 6 a.m. We just got up and we're now leaving here from Navarrete. Quarter to 7, just getting light now. You can probably see the sun slowly rising behind us over there. A lot of clouds as well. It's about 6 degrees this morning and it's supposed to be an 80% chance of rain till about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So at the moment it's holding off, staying dry, which is good. But at some point today I think we're going to expect some rain.
Poema del Camino. Polvo, barro, sol y lluvia es Camino de Santiago. Millares de peregrinos y más de 1 millar de años. Peregrino, ¿quién te llama? ¿Qué fuerza oculta te atrae? Ni el campo de las estrellas, ni las grandes catedrales.
Rest days on the Camino are highly personal and depending on the individual. I had expected we'd take a few, but in the end ended up walking straight through to Santiago without a single one. Good morning, 6:15, and we're off. Just approaching Santo Domingo de la Calzada. We've been going only about 45 minutes now. Absolutely going to be an absolute stunning morning. It was quite cold this morning, probably a bit colder than yesterday, although no wind, so that made it feel not too bad. But the skies are clear. We've got a good forecast for today as well, and we've got about 30 kilometers to do. Another absolutely stunning morning. It's 6:45. We started walking about 5:30. Wanted to get an early start, make the most of the cool weather. It's absolutely beautiful at the moment, clear skies, so it's gonna be another sunny day, but if anything like yesterday it won't be too hot. And today we are going to Cardeñuela, Riopico. It's about 30 kilometers. There's not too much of a ascent. It's flattish, a few undulations, but we've got a reservation, so that's good, so we don't have to rush too much. We know we'll have someone when we get there. One of the real joys of the Camino is the sheer mix of interesting people you meet along the way. You find yourself meeting people from all walks of life, all with their own stories and reasons for being out here. The Camino gives you this constant parade of personalities that you'd never meet in your day-to-day life. You come for the walk, but it's the people who make it unforgettable.
Y pensé en la paz, en la tranquilidad, ese abstracismo que tanto nos cuesta conseguir. Y pensé en el bosque, y en el trino de los pájaros, y pensé que la naturaleza es un regalo. Y pensé en mi madre, y en la vida que ha tenido, ahora ya que llega el final. Y pensé en la amistad, y en el calor que a veces me da. Y pensé en la salud, tan importante para cumplir mis sueños. Pero, sobre todas las cosas en las que pensé en el amor, pensé en ti.
Qué lindo, muchas gracias.
Security on the Camino was something we'd wondered about before setting off, but once we started walking, it became clear that things were generally very safe. We saw the Guardia Civil, Spain's national police force especially responsible for rural areas and highways, several times along the way. Sometimes they were parked on a quiet roadside, other times slowly driving the gravel tracks of the Camino, keeping an eye on things. Their presence was reassuring rather than intrusive, a steady reminder that the route is well looked after. There we have Burgos in the distance. That's about another 10-12 kilometers from here. We're stopping just down in the valley to the right hand side. That's where we're headed tomorrow, and then on from there, and it looks as though from here on it's gonna be a lot flatter. Usted está aquí, and we're going to For many, one of the highlights of the Camino is a communal pilgrim meal. Not every albergue offers them, but when they do, they are excellent value for money. You're usually gathered around a long table with a group of people you may never have spoken to before. The food is simple, filling and abundant. There's usually a jug of wine in the middle, and conversation flows just as easily as the refills. We're up at 5, got our sleeping bags all packed up, got everything packed, headed out the door and realised it was raining. But by that time we'd already got everything ready, so there's nothing we could do. Luckily it held off. We've had a couple of spots, so it's not been too bad. We've done about 6 kilometers so far. We're just on somewhere on the outskirts of Burgos, and we're just going to follow the river now into the centre, look for a cafe and have some breakfast. We followed the Rio Arlanzón into Burgos. The signage in the city was easily the worst we'd seen on the Camino so far. We ended up relying entirely on my phone's map to navigate the streets and find the cathedral. We arrived in Burgos early, almost too early in fact, as it took a while to find any cafe that was open. Even so, we wandered past the Burgos Cathedral, a stunning example of Spanish Gothic architecture. Construction began in the 13th century, and it's famous for its soaring spires, intricate facades, and beautifully detailed interior. Pilgrims have been passing this magnificent landmark for centuries, and even early in the morning before the doors opened, its scale and craftsmanship were impossible to miss. Just a quick stop in Burgos. We went to the cafe and the supermarket. There wasn't much open when we arrived, and that was about an hour ago. Now we're just slowly heading out of the city. Leaving Burgos, the character of the Camino changes almost instantly, and you're suddenly walking into the wide, open plains of the Meseta. From here on, the landscape becomes incredibly flat. Big skies, long straight trails, and the feeling that you can see tomorrow's stage from today's lunch spot. It's a dramatic shift, and although some pilgrims find this stretch monotonous, there's something calming about the simplicity of it. It's 1:30 in the afternoon now, just arriving at our next village, Hornillos del Camino. We got a reservation. It's being held for us at least until 2 o'clock, unless we give them a call beforehand, but we won't need to because we'll be there in about 10 minutes. And it's just started raining. Hopefully it's going to hold off until we get there. So here we are, a little village today, Hornillos del Camino. Our albergue is about 300 meters ahead of us. We're here at about 1:40, and I think we've done about 33 kilometers today. Many walkers use trekking poles on the Camino, but it's a personal choice. We decided against, partly because we liked having our hands free, and partly because we only travelled with hand luggage, so bringing poles on a flight was never really an option. Either way, most larger towns are well stocked for pilgrims who arrive without poles, or those who manage to lose theirs along the way. Compared to the UK, two of the real bargains on the Camino were coffee and a glass of wine, usually about €1 each. My wife took full advantage of that particular saving almost every day.
Just had a bit of rain, but that was forecast for today. I think it's going to be rainy on and off all day. So now we are here at the Ruinas del Convento de San Anton.
Founded in 1146, the monastery was run by the Order of San Anton, whose mission was to care for pilgrims, particularly those suffering from the dreaded Fuego de San Anton, a painful medieval illness that brought excruciating burning and swelling to the limbs.
What beautiful weather. We've arrived, it's 10:15, so we can't actually go in till... Hola! We can't go in till 12:30, so we're just going to stay here and enjoy the shelter we have, because it's still raining outside.
We were fortunate. The albergue opened an hour ahead of schedule, owing to the rain and the length of the queue. Many pilgrims had concluded that today was not the ideal occasion to continue in such torrential conditions. Food planning became its own daily ritual. Each evening we'd check Google Maps for supermarkets in the town ahead, then scroll through the reviews and photos to work out whether they are actually supermarkets or just tiny convenience shops with 3 shelves and a questionable banana. Based on that, we decided whether to stock up where we were or trust the next town would have something more substantial.
Good morning, another 5:30 a.m. start. Cool and fresh, but looks like it's going to be a nice day today. And we're doing about 30 kilometres today. Oh. And I think it might just started raining. Okay, it's now raining, so full waterproofs on. Well, it turned out to be a very short-lived rain shower. Only lasted a couple of minutes. Still got the waterproofs on though, it's still quite cold. We just come over the hill, I don't know whether you can see behind me. It's quite dark still at the moment. And we're in the middle of nowhere. I think we're probably some of the first up today. There might have been one person ahead of us, and I think we saw one light riding behind us. But it looks like it's clearing a bit. It's going to be a beautiful day. The rain held off, which is good, but there's a bitterly cold wind now.
The Canal de Castilla is one of Spain's great old engineering projects, an 18th century attempt to move grain by water long before railways made the whole idea redundant. These days it's a gentle corridor of topaz and calm water, popular with walkers, cyclists and the occasional small leisure boat. Most supermarkets along the Camino close on Sundays, so plan ahead. Today we made the most of a cafe for an early lunch and stocked up on bread for the day after.
So here we are, Población de Campos. This is where we're spending the night tonight. And this takes us to about 28 kilometers today. And we're staying in the Albergue Municipal.
Let's talk bedding. When you check into an albergue, you're usually handed a disposable sheet and pillowcase. They usually resemble a fitted sheet, but today it was just a rectangular piece of fabric. Blankets are often available, though I wouldn't bet on them seeing a washing machine all that often. Most pilgrims sensibly bring a sleeping bag or at least a sheet liner.
So the sheet here is literally just a square of material. It normally folds around over the sides, fitted sheet, but this isn't. And we don't have any pillow cover, so we just got a pillow here, so luckily we have a pillowcase each. Good morning, it's almost 7 o'clock. We left just past 6 this morning. Today we have our longest day so far, which is going to be about 40 kilometres, 39 I think it is, just because we couldn't find much accommodation. But we got somewhere booked for tonight, booked and paid for, so we know it's guaranteed. So we're going to take our time and enjoy it a bit more. Hopefully today, if we can enjoy a lot more distance. But we're going to where are we going? Ledigos. And at the moment we're just walking along the road. I think there's quite a bit of road walking today, or at least walking alongside the road.
The sunrises were, without doubt, one of my favourite parts of the Camino. There's a quiet magic in setting off in the dark and watching the first light rise behind you, slowly revealing the landscape as you walk.
We've got about 20 kilometres to go, literally just straight along the road. So hopefully it's going to be a little path like this alongside the road rather than on the tarmac. But 20 kilometres in this direction. Sun's out, it's a bit cold still, but I'm just going to listen to an audiobook.
This video may make it look as though we never spoke to anyone on the Camino, but we did. We just chose not to film them. And for the record, my wife appearing behind me in most shots doesn't mean we weren't speaking to each other either. She prefers to pause and appreciate the Camino as she goes. The season changes everything on the Camino. In spring, the fields burst with red poppies and vivid green, but walk in the summer and you'll find the landscape transformed. Miles of golden wheat and towering sunflowers, their faces turned towards the sun. Whatever the time of the year, the colours of the trail create a unique, unforgettable experience. La Morena was a private albergue and one of the most expensive of our journey at €22 per person. It was very clean, with excellent facilities including an on-site bar, yet it lacked one of the basic features commonly found in many of the cheaper municipal options, a communal kitchen or a dining area.
Welcome to the halfway point. I don't know exactly where the halfway point is. It's going to depend exactly what map you use, where you measure from. There's so many variants and diversions along the trail. It could be anywhere. So here we are in the middle of nowhere, in the fields. Halfway point, so we've done 390 kilometers and got about 390 kilometers to go. Still enjoying it. We're on day 15 at the moment. So being on day 15, I think it's about 7:30 in the morning. And we'll probably take another 15 or so days to get to the end, so probably completing in about 30 days.
The Camino may be an ancient path, but hidden beneath bridges or splashed on forgotten walls is its modern pulse, bold murals, quick stencils, and little messages left by those who've passed before. They add colour, humour, and the occasional bit of quiet wisdom, giving the old route a fresh voice with every step. On the Camino, you'll occasionally come across variants, those alternative routes that branch off the main trail. Think of them as optional detours. Some variants are all about scenery, taking you through quieter countryside or along rivers instead of the more direct road sections. Others exist for history buffs, looping you past an old hermitage or monastery you wouldn't have seen otherwise. And a few are simply practical, more shade, fewer hills, or a better chance of finding a sandwich before you lose the will to live. Distance-wise they vary. Some add barely a kilometre, while others tack an extra 5 to 10 kilometres, which your legs will definitely notice. So it's worth checking the signs or your map in the morning and decide how heroic you feel. In general, variants are there to give you options: the scenic route, the quieter route, or the let's avoid the main road route. There's no right or wrong route, all roads lead to Santiago. Albergue opening times vary, but most open in the late morning or early afternoon, roughly 12 to 2 p.m. Arriving early can mean queuing, especially in popular towns during peak season, so a little patience goes a long way. In the morning, they usually leave the doors unlocked, so you can set off whenever you like. If you decide to leave at 6 a.m, there probably won't be anyone around to say goodbye, but do be mindful of others who may still be sleeping before sunrise.
Today we've got an easy day. We're headed to Reliegos. It's only about 20 kilometers, so we're taking it nice and steady. We just stopped off for coffee. Gabby actually had 2 coffees because she was given 2 by mistake. So I had a chocolate croissant thing, which is very nice. Apparently it's going to rain today as well. We can see some clouds over there. I don't suppose the ones that are coming in to get us nice and wet, because over this side not a lot happening. But one thing you notice out here, how flat it is. It is very flat now. I think in the next few days we are going to be walking through a very flat landscape, which is nice. Makes a change.
Remember to walk the Camino at your own pace. It isn't a race. Let your footsteps find their own rhythm. Linger when something catches your heart, and don't rush the moments meant to be savoured.
It's rare but nice to find one of these without any graffiti or stickers all over it. Cafe.
One of our unexpected Camino pastimes became what we called the waiting on the doorstep game. Because we tended to leave early, we also arrived early, usually a good half hour before the albergues even thought about opening. But it turned out to be a solid strategy. First through the door meant we could actually choose our beds instead of being assigned one directly under the snorer. and it guaranteed blissfully clean, hot showers before the rest of the day's mileage and sweat arrived behind us. Not exactly a glamorous game, but surprisingly satisfying. We aimed for Camino sections that weren't in the main guidebooks to avoid the crowds. In practice, though, everyone else had the same plan. By this point, planning logistics had become part of the daily routine. We'd started reserving beds a few days ahead, which meant figuring out how far we were actually willing to walk each day, and therefore which town we'd end up in each night. My wife, being a native Spanish speaker, made the calls. I updated what we called the accommodation Bible, a slightly chaotic but surprisingly reliable list of where we'd sleep, where we hoped to sleep, and how far we would have to walk. You don't need to speak Spanish to get by on the Camino. English works fine in albergues, cafes and shops. A few basic phrases are useful and appreciated, but the trail is friendly enough and a smile goes a long way. Shortly after Mansilla de las Mulas, the Camino passed under the arches of Puente Villamayor, a multi-arch stone bridge spanning the river Porma. Even walking beneath it, you can get a sense of the effort that went into building these structures.
Where does the Camino go? I'm following a route on my map. The markings on the other side of the road over there, there's a guy walking over there. Must have just changed over time. But we're just going to keep following the markers we've got here. And I think it's going to take us back over onto the other side. We've only done about a kilometre different from them, but as I say, I was following the route marked on my map.
The Camino is full of yellow painted arrows guiding the way. None are official. They've mostly been added by volunteers over the years.
Quería ver un poco para ver sitios de interés. Vamos a estar hoy, solamente mañana a la mañana ya nos vamos.
Mira,
Pero que sí o sí deberíamos ver en...
bueno, hay muchas cosas, pero en un día no da mucho
No,
tiempo,
me
¿vale?
imagino.
Arriving in León feels like stepping into a different world after the flat plains of the Meseta. This city has been a key stop on the Camino for centuries, with roots stretching back to Roman times as a military encampment. Its medieval streets wind past grand squares, Gothic churches, and the crown jewel, the León Cathedral, famous for its stunning stained glass windows that flood the interior with colour. León is busy, vibrant, and a little overwhelming after the quiet of the plains. We were only going to spend one night here, but it will be in a hotel, our first non-albergue of the Camino so far. A small taste of comfort after days of shared dorms and disposable sheets. Just outside León, at La Virgen del Camino, we turned left towards Villa de Masarif. Though this variant adds 4 kilometres to the total distance, it's worth a detour. It offers a much quieter, more scenic path through small villages, effectively skipping the busy roads and industrial zones near Villa Dangos del Páramo. Walking into Hospital de Órbigo, one of the classic stops on the Camino Francés, you're immediately struck by the Puente de Órbigo, a medieval stone bridge that spans the Órbigo River. With its long line of stretched arches and narrow roadway, it's a kind of structure that dominates a town and feels like it has witnessed every era of Camino history. The town itself grew up around the bridge and was historically a strategic crossing, so pilgrims have been passing here for centuries.
Yes, so maybe here.
Albergue bathrooms are a masterclass in extreme energy saving. Many rely on motion sensors, which means the lights often cut off mid-mission. You'll find yourself waving an arm from the toilet or shower like you're trying to flag down a passing ship. And it's rarely a one-off. Expect a few rounds of bathroom semaphore. The shortest timer I ever experienced? A brief 8 seconds. Just long enough to reconsider your life choices.
Súper blando.
Astorga is a city built directly over the ancient Roman capital Astorica Augusta. The foundation of its streets is literally 2,000 years old. The Camino passes right through this history, leading you to two stunning yet dramatically different architectural landmarks. The grand medieval church of Santa Maria, and right beside it, the unique, fantasy-like Episcopal Palace, designed by the famed Catalan architect Antoni Gaudí. Spotting a water fountain ahead, I decided to be clever and emptied out my warm, sun-baked water, ready to swap it for something cooler and refreshing. Of course, the moment I tipped the last drop out, the fountain turned out to be completely dry, so now I had no water.
De habitación, arriba.
You hear Buen Camino often. It's a common greeting amongst walkers. More than a simple hello, a quiet acknowledgement of the journey everyone shares. The Cruz de Ferro, Iron Cross, is a simple wooden pole topped with a small iron cross. But what makes it extraordinary is the mound of stones at its base. each one left by a pilgrim. The tradition goes back centuries. You carry a stone from home, something that symbolises a burden, a memory, or just a piece of where you come from, and you leave it here. The pile grows a little higher with every passerby. From Cruz de Ferro at 1500 metres, we begin the descent, first through the forested paths, then out into open slopes with sweeping views to the west. The trail drops steeply to the small hamlet of El Cebo, at about 1,100 metres, where we'll spend the night.
12 euros. Sí, ¿no?
Good morning, it's about 25 past 7. We didn't start so early this morning. There was a notice on the desk reception saying the front door doesn't open until 7 o'clock. But anyway, we left just before 7. And we're now heading down to the town of Ponteferra, I think it is. So we're about 2 hours down. And yesterday we were up in the hills over here.
Ponferrada owes its existence to the very pilgrimage that brings us here. The city began as nothing more than a simple wooden footbridge over the Sil River. However, due to heavy pilgrim traffic on the Camino, the local bishop decided to fortify it in the 11th century, constructing a strong iron bridge, or Ponferrada, giving the city its name. The highlight, impossible to miss, is the Templar Castle, a sprawling fortress built in the 12th century when the Knights Templar were tasked with protecting pilgrims on the Camino. The city grew around this stronghold, and today it's a lively mix of medieval stone walls, modern streets, and plenty of places to refuel. Wi-Fi is pretty much everywhere on the Camino. Every albergue we stayed in had it, and most cafes and bars offered it too, so staying connected was never a problem. Being from the UK, we had 3 gigabytes of data roaming included in our pay-as-you-go plans, which turned out to be more than enough. In truth, the Camino isn't really about being online anyway. When it comes to charging our electronics, we kept things simple. We brought a small USB charger with a European plug, far lighter and less bulky than dragging along a charger and an adapter from home. Paired with a couple of charging cables, including one at least 2 meters long, ensured I stayed connected even when plugged into awkwardly placed sockets. We never had any trouble finding a socket in the albergues. From Villafranca del Bierzo to our stop in Vega del Valcarce, the old N6 road becomes the Camino's reluctant companion. Though largely quiet, the nearby A6 autovia above carries the traffic noise that many pilgrims find intrusive. Some find this section through the Valcarce Valley tedious, but I saw a different side. There's a quiet beauty in the old road tracing the river's path deep into the valley, as if the landscape itself were guiding our steps.
Te lo voy a poner aquí así.
After washing our clothes, we hung them out on the line. It's not every day you get to hang your clothes out in the street.
50 metros.
Good morning, it's about 8 o'clock, been going 2 hours, and we started this morning at Vega de Valcárcel, and we're going to Fonfrere. It's about 24 kilometers, I think it is, but it's about 1,000 meters of ascent. We've done about 300 or 400 so far. We've got to go over this this mound in front of us, and then a bit more later on, but it's another absolutely stunning day. We got up early to make the most of the cool weather for this ascent. Crossing into Galicia feels like stepping into a new chapter of the Camino. The landscape shifted almost immediately to rolling hills and misty valleys, slate roofs and granite hamlets. The air here feels different. It is thicker, damp and carries a scent of pine and eucalyptus. This final, beautiful region marks a home stretch, bringing us closer to Santiago de Compostela. So the, as it calls it, supplementary way is to the right. We need to be going to the left. And there's another marker just over here. Crisp white cotton sheets. A real treat compared to the usual disposable ones. I added my pillowcase out of habit, a small comfort that made settling in after a long day on the trail feel just a little bit more like home. I'm not going to go through all my kit carried, that's for another video, but footwear deserves a mention. Just wear what's comfortable for you. For me, it was trail running shoes. The key is to break them in and test them with the socks you plan to wear on the Camino. We travelled as light as possible, following a simple wash one, wear one philosophy. 3 pairs of socks, underwear and t-shirt, although we probably could have managed with just 2 thanks to the relatively dry weather. I wore the same base layer and shorts every day on the trail, so yes, I look exactly the same in all the videos. By the time we set off each morning, my pack weighed just under 5 kilos, not including food and water. And that brings me on to kit transfers. This is an extremely popular service that lets pilgrims walk all day with just a day pack, while their main luggage is transported daily from one pre-booked stop to the next. It costs around €6 a day, and if you're travelling with someone else, you can even share a bag. We didn't use it, everything we carried was on our backs, but for many, it's a game changer for comfort and pace.
We have arrived in Sarria. It's exactly 12 o'clock. Just crossing over the river here. Our albergue doesn't open until I think about 1:30. So we'll go to the supermarket, get some food, and probably go and sit on their doorstep and eat it.
This is Sarria, and for thousands of pilgrims, it is the starting line. It's the most popular place to begin the Camino because it sits perfectly beyond the minimum distance required for the Compostela, the official certificate of completion issued by the Pilgrims Office in Santiago. To earn it, you must prove you have walked at least the final 100 kilometres of the route, and from Sarria, you have approximately 114 kilometres to Santiago. Tomorrow will be just another day on the Camino for us, as we continue to the beautiful city of Santiago de Compostela.
Good morning. Interestingly, we've been up very early every morning, and there's always other people up today. 6:15, it's the latest we've ever left, and there's absolutely nobody else up in our hostel. We're going to have the trails to ourselves, hopefully, at least for the first 10-15 minutes. We've seen more people in the first 10 minutes on this trail than we have on any other sections we've done so far. So yes, I imagine it's going to be very busy today, which is what we're expecting. I'm sort of looking forward to seeing so many people on the Camino. Got quite a short day today, just 22 kilometres, short compared to what we've been doing up until now. We've been going 2 hours, it's about 2 hours 15 minutes, and we're at 11 kilometre mark, so we're done halfway. They're good trails, we're walking quite fast. There's a cafe just up here, so hopefully it'll be open and we'll be able to stop, have a break, because we're in absolutely no rush to get there today.
On the Camino, there's no strict rule for how many stamps you need in your credential each day. Most pilgrims collect at least one per day, usually from albergue, church, or even a cafe. If you're aiming for the official Compostela certificate in Santiago, you'll need at least 2 stamps per day for the final 100 kilometres.
The sun's finally come out. We've stopped for coffee, and now I think we're at is probably as close to as 100 kilometres as you're going to get on one of these signs. 100.252 kilometres to Santiago.
Little did I know there will be another marker in 252 metres.
Just arriving at the 100 kilometre mark. Porto Marine, just crossed out to the left. I think we've only got about another kilometre down to the bridge. It's 10 to 11 and we're going to get here very early, as we normally get places early. But our hostel albergue doesn't open until about 12 o'clock. So we'll get down here and we'll go and sit on the doorstep, take our shoes off and enjoy the wait.
If you watch any Camino video, you'll hear the golden rule: take earplugs. My wife wore them every night to guarantee a good sleep, while I carried 2 pairs and only use them once. After many years of travelling, I'm perhaps more accustomed to dorm rooms.
Good morning. We started at Portomarín and we're going to Palas de Rei. It's about 24 kilometres. It's 10 to 7 now. We started about an hour ago. It's low cloud or fog, but the sun is due to come out today, and I think it's due to be about 24 degrees in the afternoon. So, espero que sí. It's about 7:30. We've seen very few people actually, quite surprised. But as soon as we get to 8 kilometres, then every couple of kilometres after there's a new village. So there'll be more people joining the trail, and no doubt it'll get busier, because at the moment it feels very similar to the first 600 kilometres with not a lot of people about. Okay, so 2 markers here. This is going complementario route, and I think this is the main route, so 84.672 kilometres to go. Just stopped for a coffee break, and it's still misty. Still haven't seen many people. I don't know whether it's because it's misty we can't see them. It's nice having the trails to ourselves, but at some point I would like to see the craziness of all the people on the trail. This is marked on the map as a viewpoint, and as you can see, the views are stunning. The sun's finally breaking through the cloud on the mist, and we just caught up with quite a lot of pilgrims. There's 5 in front of us and probably about another 8 behind us. It's the most people we've seen all day.
Along the Camino, you'll spot hornillos, traditional raised granaries unique in northern Spain, built to keep grain and other food dry and safe from rodents.
Good morning. Today we're heading to Arzur, which is about 28 kilometres. We left at just about 10 past 6 this morning. It's just gone 7 o'clock now. It's getting light, A few clouds around. It's supposed to be hot and sunny today. Looks like I spoke too soon about the good weather. It's going to be misty again first thing this morning. Just coming into the outskirts of the town of Melide. I think we'll go through the centre and out the other side again.
Okay.
About 4 kilometres to go now. It's 11:30. We'll be there by about 12:30. So 4 kilometres to Arazur, and it's just over on the hill, which you now can't see because it's gone behind the hedge.
Oh, are you enjoying your lunch there, Gabby?
Mm.
Good morning, it's about 7:30. We left at 6:15 this morning, and today we're heading to O Pedrouzo, which is about 20 kilometres. The weather is going to be beautiful today, the sun's out, clear blue skies, and it's going to be another fantastic day. 21.2 kilometres, about a half marathon. Talking of half marathons, check out my Porto half marathon that I do after the Camino. Just gone 10:30 and 1 kilometre left to O Pedrouzo. And the weather changed in the end. Wasn't beautiful and sunny all day, but it's good walking weather, overcast and not too hot. We're just heading off the trail now. It goes back in that direction, but this is O Pedrouzo, which is our village for tonight. It's only 10:45. We're going to go to the supermarket, buy something nice, and then probably sit on the doorstep and wait for them to open. Cafe Arca. Arrived early as always. Albergue Turistico Crucero de Pedrouzo, or something like that. As I say, we'll first arrive, it's 11 o'clock, doesn't open until 12 o'clock. So we'll do what we normally do, we'll just sit on the doorstep and wait for them to open. Just gone 6 o'clock. This is our last day, 20 kilometres to Santiago. Last cafe, next stop, Santiago. They say the Camino provides what you need exactly when you need it, and sometimes it provides a tune. As you hear the pipe playing under the arches leading to the Cathedral de Santiago, you know you're getting close to the end of your journey. 780 kilometres. It sounds like a number, a statistic on a map, but when you walk it, it becomes a lifetime. It started in St. Jean-Pied-de-Port with a single step and 1,000 metres of climb. We traded the comfort of our daily lives for the rhythm of the trail. Eat, sleep, walk, repeat. There were days when the distance felt endless and the legs grew heavy, but there were also quiet mornings when the rising sun painted a picture that felt like a private show put on just for us. You learn quickly that you don't conquer the Camino, you surrender to it. You walk through the silence of the forests and the noise of your own thoughts. A rhythm emerges and the routine becomes comforting, connected by nothing more than yellow arrows and a shared destination. When we finally stood in front of the cathedral in Santiago de Compostela, looking up at those towers we'd chased for 30 days, the feeling wasn't just relief, it was gratitude. Gratitude for the bodies that carried us, and the path that taught us that the destination is beautiful, but the journey is what changes you. 780 kilometres later, our feet are tired, but our hearts are full. This is the Camino, and this was our way.